The Berenstain Bears and the Sitter by Stan and Jan Berenstain. Mom and Dad are going out. Gramps and Gran are too. Who will stay home with the cubs? Just anyone won't do. "What's this?" said Papa Bear, as he took the day's mail from the Bear family's mailbox. It was a notice telling about an important meeting that night at the Bear County Town Hall. Mama Bear called up Grizzly Gram, and Brother and Sister Bear sometimes stayed with Gramps and Gram when Mama and Papa had to be away. But Gramps and Gram were planning to go to the meeting too, so Brother and Sister couldn't stay with them. Or Aunt Maud, or Cousin Wilbur, they were going to the meeting too. "Why can't we go with you?" asked Sister, beginning to get a little upset. "Yeah," added Brother Bear. "Because," said Papa, "this meeting is for grown-ups, and besides, it won't be over until late, way past your bedtime." "Well, where are we going to stay?" the cubs wanted to know. "You're going to stay right here," said Mama, as she put down the phone. "Alone?" asked Sister. "Of course not," said Mama. "I've arranged for a sitter." "A sitter?" said Brother. "Who is it going to be?" asked Sister. "Miss Grizzle, who lives in the hollow stump at the end of the road," said Mama, feeling much better about the whole thing. "Miss Grizzle?" said the cubs, not feeling better at all. Once, when Sister was playing with her friends, their ball went into Miss Grizzle's flower garden. Miss Grizzle wasn't happy about it. And another time, when Brother was flying his kite, it swooped and bumped Miss Grizzle on the hat. She wasn't too tickled about that either. Later that evening, after supper things had been cleaned up, Mama and Papa got ready to go to the town meeting. "But who's going to scrub our backs, read us a story, and tuck us in?" asked Sister, still a little nervous about the idea of a sitter. "I understand that Miss Grizzle has raised 7 cubs of her own," said Mama, putting on her hat, "and I'm sure she's perfectly good back scrubber, story reader, and tucker bed inner." "She's not going to scrub my back," Brother Bear said under his breath. Miss Grizzle came walking up the path to the bear's treehouse right on time. There was no question about it. It was the same Miss Grizzle who got all bopped with the kite and didn't like cubs tromping her flowers. She was very large, almost as big as Papa, and she carried a drawstring bag. "Evening all," said Miss Grizzle, in a loud, jolly voice. "Well, time's a-wastin', you two," she said to Mamma and Papa. "You better skedaddle off to your meeting." Miss Grizzle had a strong way of saying things, and folks usually did what she said. Mamma and Papa kissed the cubs good night and skedaddled. "Whew!" said Miss Grizzle, as she sat down in Papa's big chair. "It sure is good to get a load off your feet." She took off her hat and looked into her drawstring bag. There's something about somebody looking into a bag that makes cubs very curious. "Miss Grizzle," said Sister. "Yes? What's in the bag?" "Nothing much. Just some things I take along when I go sitting. A piece of string, a pack of cards." Meanwhile, over at the town hall, the bears were getting ready for the important meeting. They were getting ready for speeches, voting, and arguments about the new laws. But Mama's mind was not on the meeting. Neither was Papa's. Mama and Papa Bear were thinking about what was going on back at home. "Sister looked a little worried when we left," fretted Mama. "So did Brother," agreed Papa. They decided to call home and see how things were going. "Things are going just fine," said Miss Grizzle. "Brother and Sister can't come to the phone right now. They're busy playing cat's cradle." "Have a good meeting," shouted the cubs. "But they say to have a good meeting." After cat's cradle, they played goldfish with the cards that came out of Miss Grizzle's drawstring bag. Then they played tiddlywinks with a special set of winks that Miss Grizzle had made out of polished stones and a small shell cup. After a while, the cubs got yawns, and Miss Grizzle began getting them ready for bed. And she did, indeed, turn out to be a very good back scrubber. Brother changed his mind about her having to scrub his back. And she was a fine story reader, and a really super tucker-inner. "I hope Mama and Papa had a good meeting," said Sister, with a yawn, "because we had a very good sit." The cubs had a number of different sitters from time to time, but Miss Grizzle was their favorite, and they were always glad to see her. The end.